The hunting-gathering lifestyle of early humans became unsustainable for their growing population. This led to the discovery of agriculture on the cradles of civilization. The discovery of arable land and domestication of plants allowed them to change their nomadic lifestyle into a sedentary one. Since the domestication of plants produced food, more than enough for a tribe, the early humans also learned how to preserve their food surplus. Food preservation methods such as drying and fermentation became an important process for the early humans in order to avoid spoilage of their food and sustain life when there is scarcity and famine. Along with the domestication of plants, early humans learned how to domesticate animals. Because of this, they were able to gain many benefits from these animals. They continued to domesticate animals to be a source of food, but they also discovered that they could provide materials for clothing, transportation, and even for house materials. This discovery was also a factor for the transition of humans as nomadic hunter gatherers to sedentary villages. With the growth of commerce along the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, ancient citizens found a need to account for their possessions and livestock, and as a result, writing was created. Business letters and transactions were written in cuneiform, a writing system that originated in Sumeria. Eventually, cuneiform will also be used in writing down history, religious rituals, traditions, literature, and law. Other writing systems were also created from other civilizations, such as hieroglyphics from the Egyptians, Greek alphabet from the Greeks, and the Phoenician alphabet from the Phoenicians. Because of writing, employment became established, historical accounts were written, and social stratification between those who know how to write and those who don't became established. The development of new technologies paved the way for advancements in agriculture. Mesopotamians were responsible for the creation of the six classic simple machines: the wheel and axle, the lever, the pulley, the screw, and the pump. These were mainly used for farming, water systems, and constructions. Early civilizations in the Middle East and pre Greco Roman cities also created tools for plowing, ranging from wooden plows and stone blades to rudimentary copper plowshares. The plows removed wild grass and made them into open furrows to be able to sow seeds. Early civilizations also improved their metallurgy techniques through the creation of new methods of forging and obtaining metals from ores. The most important agricultural invention of the period came from ancient Egypt. The Egyptians relied heavily on the River Nile for religious, economic, and social practices, as well as their water supply. This led to the building of levees and flood barriers for when the Nile would flood after harvest season. Since rainfall was insufficient in Egypt, the Egyptians created an irrigation system which used channels and canals to supply water from the Nile River to the land and crops. Not only did water regulation improve the early people's engineering and construction skills, it had significant social effects. They had laborers, supervisors, and administrators, all these positions necessary in building and maintaining canals and dams. Due to the need for irrigation and embankments in the intensively growing farming practice, a land that was productive became an avenue for profit. This led to a division of wealth and power, which continued to contribute to more social stratification. As early as 8500 BC, the creation of a specialized workforce and an immense emphasis on agriculture technology allowed for the development of societies. The complexity of these communities increased and drove the creation of laws. One can even argue that agriculture drove civilization, including social attitudes and religious practices. Along with the agricultural revolution, population started to grow and villages became more complex city states. It is at this time that governments were established to maintain food supply, provide protection, and maintain civility among its constituents. In Mesopotamian society, beliefs were largely based on gods who controlled the precarious weather. At this time, the highest ranking officials were priests, who were tasked with performing rituals to appease the deities. Aside from that, they had the power to make decisions regarding land, commercial trade, and agricultural development.